Hey, good morning. How are you guys doing? How are you guys doing? Thank you again so much for tuning into another awesome episode here at Brian's Place. As always, this is the seventh season. Um, and thank you always for rocking and rolling with me. Um, Definitely feel free to hit the like button and subscribe. Let's make this commitment real. Let's make it official, y'all. So, today we are in for a treat. Did I say a treat? Yes, a treat indeed. We are in for a treat. Today's guest has been a previous guest here on the podcast. It's a blessing and an honor to have her back. Please welcome the one and only Tamika Banks.
Hello, everybody. Nice to meet you virtually. Excited to be here and excited to be able to share some of my experiences with you all today. Welcome.
Thank you again so much for taking the time to come on. It's definitely great having you back on. I appreciate it.
Definitely a pleasure to be here. Brian, you've been consistent now. You said 7 seasons. It's an amazing thing to say and to also do. I know how difficult it is to be consistent, and you've been able to do that. So kudos to you. Congrats. And thank you very much for having me back.
Praise God. Thank you. I'm definitely grateful for the gift and the platform. So definitely, try to flow in intentionality with, what God entrusts me to do. So thank you.
No worries.
So, what have you been up to since we last spoke? I know it's been a cool minute. So would you mind sharing?
Sure, no, I don't mind giving some updates. Last time we talked about the book Fly Queen, we went into some of the specifics for why I wrote it and who it was for. This time, I'm still going forward with that engagement, working now on an audiobook and actually just started reading the audiobook to get that published. Not quite sure when it'll be finished, but we're through half the book now. Also, I have expanded our physical footprint, our locations. So now we have a new office in Elk Grove, historic Elk Grove at that. It's really beautiful and a building that was built in the 1800s. So it's got a lot of history, a lot of really good bones within the building. And then also expanding my partnerships is something that I've been working on. And so in Elk Grove, California, we are partnered with Hope for Healthy Families. And that is a bunch of licensed marriage and family counselors, folks that specialize on drug addiction. And then here I come with my Reiki service and management with guided relaxation. And so within the building, we've got early responders, we've got just any number of resources that anyone might need who goes through crisis.
Wow, that's awesome. One thing I like you said that you mentioned how you're building a footprint. And when
Mhm.
I think of that, I think of how in our steps and in everything we do, it's not just something we're doing, but as we're doing it, we are
Mhm.
literally leaving a footprint for the next person, for the next generation to come up behind us. It's like when you go to the beach and you see someone's footprints in the beach, you're seeing where someone has been before. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and I don't feel like I have to really recreate it all from scratch. What I've been doing is partnering and joining with other communities that already exist, and I've just become a contributor. So hopefully that you and I will be able to do more of that this year, given that the partners that I'm working with are in your line of work
Okay,
as
yeah.
well.
That'd be awesome. Yes, definitely.
Yes. So I will offer my space. That way, if you have clients up in this Sacramento area, you'll have a place to be able to take and provide um, a safe place for them.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I actually have a good resource up in that area. So, yeah, after this, I'll definitely send you their info.
Awesome.
So the singer India Ari once said, "Life is a journey, not a destination. There are no mistakes, just chances we take. So lay down your regrets because all we have is now." What comes to your mind when you hear those words?
I love India Ari first. Second, to be fully present, to live in this moment now fully. because really it's truly all that we have. The past is forever gone and the future doesn't quite yet exist. So there's power in now. There's power in this very moment.
That's so true. And I've noticed that unfortunately, a lot of people are rushing the present moment, trying to get to the next moment. But I kind of believe that there's a hidden gem in our current hidden in our current moment, that if we rush the current moment, you
Hmm.
know, the gem prepares us and is something we need for the next moment. So it's important to like extract all we can from each moment, you know?
Yeah, and build a and establish a real connection. Like we have a chance to really be intentional here and to make something that lasts longer than this podcast, you know? So it's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And so you kind of actually answered part of my next question. Your book, Fly Queen, First Love Yourself, I was about to ask, how's that doing? And I'm sure you've gotten some awesome responses from people, how it's greatly blessing.
You know, I do. I hear from people every month about their experience. I heard from one reader, her name was Robin, and she said, I just read your book again. I know I've read it, but from time to time, I find myself referring back to it. Because within that book, there's strategies, there's tips, there's techniques that you can really use during active crisis, and
Mhm.
also strategies that you can employ before a crisis comes to mind so that you could have some tips to get in and out of it very quickly.
Yeah.
But the book is doing well. My goal when I wrote the book was to help one person, and I didn't mind if that one person was me. And so, yay, I've been helped by it. But the fact that so many others have read it and have found some sort of help in it,
Yeah.
that's all I could really dream of.
That's awesome. And on that note, just remember, to the world, you may be one person, but to one person, you may be the world.
Yes. Same for you, because I know the work that you do is so impactful. And I know mental health in general is an underserved population, and especially by finding counselors that look like me, that can articulate a little bit of my experience and have something to help me with,
Yeah.
second to none. It's an amazing
Yeah.
thing. And thank you for doing that.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. And so let me get this straight. So you've not only held a workshop, but you've held a workshop in the Caribbean. How was that experience?
It was an amazing experience. Like, oh my goodness. I went during the middle of the pandemic. And so we had to quarantine. And when we quarantined, we were there for, I think they had us quarantined for like 4 or 5 days in pure bliss. So that was nobody around. And they gave us pool service and they just fed us really good. So it was a chance of really quiet, intimate bonding, really quiet, intimate sharing. We stayed in the same properties. We had two different units, but we ate together, we slept together, we prayed together, we read together, we exercised. It was an amazing experience. If it's up to me, I will do it again every year,
Mhm.
for myself and then also for others that would like to come along.
Wow, that's so awesome. So like you were in paradise, literally in a sense. And
Literally.
yeah, it's so awesome that in a sense people they don't have to go to they don't have to go to paradise in order to experience paradise. Sometimes the rich treasures of being in a place like the Caribbean can be those same awesome treasures and moments can be found when we take time to be still and
Mm.
bask in the Father's presence and just allow ourselves to be nourished and fed and poured back into.
That's right. There's something special about stillness. You really don't have to go to Grenada. You don't have to be anywhere but within yourself and have that desire to connect with God and to be still, to meditate, and to get your mind right. It was nice that we were in Grenada and the weather was nice and it was nature surrounding us. But I mean, I pray in my closet. So
Right. Yeah.
I literally started, if Reiki, if Delta is an extension, I'm so sorry, that scared my pool man. If Reiki is an extension of where I started, I literally had a space very small in my closet area, and I just closed the door, put a little rug down there, put my scriptures on the wall and my intentions, and I pray, 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 pray. That
Yes.
closet turned into a room in my house because I was expanding the prayers and it was getting good. Then it turned into a business and a practice and multiple locations. So it starts somewhere, and
That's
usually
awesome. So
desires with your heart.
it's like your closet became your battleground, like the movie War Room.
Yes,
You know?
exactly like the movie War Room.
Yeah.
Not as big as her closet. Mine was literally a small closet. I could just kneel,
Hmm.
and that's all the space that I had. I put that little rug, and that was it.
Hmm.
But it had the same exact energy, the same exact feel, the same exact intention.
Yeah.
And yeah, I carried it on. It went from, okay, well, now I want a whole room where I can just go in and pray and go in and
Yeah.
meditate and go in and get myself back in alignment.
That's so important, and it's amazing, the things God reveals through prayer. It's like, someone could spend 5 years trying to figure out how to work something or how to make something happen, where if they would just take, maybe 30 minutes in prayer, God will, can reveal to them in 30 minutes what they've been trying 5 years to make happen on their own.
So very true. Let go and let God. For me, this business, Delta Row, has been in my mind for years and years and years. 5 years ago, I actually established the LLC. And when I established it, it was still the prayer room as the office, right? So from that 5 years, it grew from just the prayer room to the room. And now that I have the room in my house, I kept it. I also still have the office and partnerships where I share space. It's he God did that. I didn't do it. It was so effortless on my part. It just that's what I mean. Like that I think that's what you mean by giving it to God and God will do it. I was trying to figure it out a long time, couldn't.
Yeah.
Then God.
Yeah. And big quick shout out to my pastor Horatio Jones. He's currently in our morning man and Bible study. Talking about prayer and just how it's so the important and the posture of prayer, and it comes from the posture of the heart, because it's like, what good, I forget where it says it, but what good is having the form of godliness but denying the power? So like, what good is, like, fasting, for instance? What good is going around saying, oh, I'm fasting, and looking all sad and pitiful if there's no true intention from the heart to grow closer to God?
That's interesting that you brought up fasting. My daughter Hannah, she's 13, just turned 13. I had no idea that she was even into fasting. And yesterday she said, Mom, I have to wait until 6 o'clock. And I'm like, why? She's like, I've been fasting all day. I'm like, wow, Hannah, I didn't even know that you were fasting or that you even knew what it was. And she shared that she was praying to God that He would help her and her weight and help her in school. She wanted to make honor roll, and she just had her prayer list. And I was like, okay, 13. Wow. I have never fasted with her. I was like, I fast every week, but I hadn't had that discussion with her. And so she brought it to me, and I thought that was so amazing. And yesterday, when she came home, she said, Mom, I've got some good news. I'm like, what's that? She's like, I made honor roll. And I made honor roll last time. And she goes, guess what? I'm going to make it next time and all year long. And I just, that's, yes. Amen. Thank you, Jesus. Right.
Yes.
Proud mama moment. But I really attribute that to her connection with God and
Mhm.
realizing that sometimes to get what you want, you have to sacrifice just a little, even if it's in your diet.
Mhm. Exactly. It's, that part of pushing the plate away, and it's so worth what you receive in return. But the first step is letting go, because obviously, with your hands closed, or even with a bunch of stuff in your hands, it's hard to receive something,
Mm-hmm.
anything more. So the first step to receiving is letting go.
Mm-hmm. Let go. Got
Yes,
to open up and create the space for it to come back in.
that's it. Do that spiritual spring cleaning.
That's right.
And
That's right.
so loving yourself is definitely, essential. It is like, it is self care, probably one of the best and truest forms of self care. Would you agree?
I 100% agree. I 100% agree with that. Loving yourself. doesn't come easy to some people, right? They've been programmed to hate themselves or they don't like something. But to really love yourself is the most freeing experience and the most loving experience that you can really give
Mhm.
to yourself and to your family.
That's true. And it's like you can't, it's hard to give love if you don't already have love. It's like I can't, it's like if I'm not already kind from
Hmm.
within, it's not like I could go down the street to 7-Eleven or to the Whole Food store and buy a jar of kindness to give someone if it's not something that's part of me. That's not how that works, you know?
Hmm. That's true. We can't buy it, but those attributes can be learned.
Yeah,
And with
yeah,
a
definitely.
good advisor, counselor, God, church, like a big help into getting that
Mhm.
guidance is by asking for it.
Definitely. And along the lines of self care, I know the word no has a bad connotation, but I believe that the word no is also a form of self care. Also, sometimes you have to say no to others so you can say yes to yourself. You know.
Yes. Now I had to say yes to that. Saying no doesn't come easy for me, but I've learned that you have to be sometimes uncomfortable in order to get what you want. And
Yeah.
so over this past year, I've learned to say no a whole lot more. But
Yeah.
I've been able to also say yes to the things that matter, the things that I want to support.
Mhm.
And really, it's helping people create better boundaries around how they interact with me and what their expectations are. So
Mhm.
you have to say no.
Yeah. You do, and it's so important. And also along those same lines, it's like you really have to guard and protect your peace. Not always feeling
Hmm.
obligated to always answer your phone. It's like that's what voicemail is for, and just guarding your peace. That's essential because you don't want to carry certain. If one conversation is real intense and high, you don't want to like allow that to bubble over into another conversation with someone else. So just guarding, your
How do you
peace
do
is
that?
process.
How do you guard your peace?
How do I guard my peace?
Hmm.
I've learned for me what works is um, watching whom. I think the big thing for me is if I'm not in the right space to talk to someone, I won't like talk to them. Like for instance, if there's a situation going on in my personal life right before work, I won't talk to that person because I don't want emotions to bubble over from work. And also, on the same note, right after work, because I know I'm real tired and fatigued after work, I try not to make important decisions like right after work because I know I'm not 100%. So
Hmm.
certain things can wait. And I really monitor like who I talk to, when I talk to, and it's not that I'm rude. It's just like I realize the value of my peace, and like with anything, we have a separate cabinet for China because we understand the value of China.
Right. That's true. And it's got its own case. Those things are set aside. We call them sanctified use
Yes.
for the service of God. Yeah, I feel like I'm sanctified. I'm actually set aside. Sometimes it feels isolating. Sometimes it feels like refuge. Sometimes it feels like elevation. I've just learned to not judge it, to sit with
Mhm.
it, and to really just lean into the space and the time to reflect and to create.
Yeah. That's good. That's so important. The sanctification aspect. Sometimes it's a lonely place, but it's being set apart for a specific purpose. And for every process, there's a purpose in the process. Whether it's a pie
Hmm.
going through the process of being in the oven, or a caterpillar going through the process of becoming a butterfly. There's
Hmm.
always a process. Even with us, there's a process that for most people takes place in the womb over the course of 9 months, and when that process is up, then you have a baby. So it's
Hmm.
so important not to, in whatever it is, not to abort the process.
I like that. I also like don't skip steps in the process. Like don't abort it all together. Don't skip steps. Like each step has a value in it
Mhm.
that you can only benefit from going through it.
Yeah, that's real. That's so true. And also, like, many people talk about setting boundaries when it comes to being in a relationship or with others, but what about setting boundaries so you can make sure you pour back into yourself? What are your thoughts on that?
I agree with you. Setting boundaries really helps, especially in relation to others. But in relation to self, it's critical in my mind, because it helps to build your self esteem. It helps to build your confidence. It
Mhm,
helps you really to grow as a person and
mhm,
to learn how to honor yourself. So boundaries are good. They keep you safe. They come from the ego, which is that part of you that wants to preserve life. So
mhm.
sometimes you have to check your boundaries to see if they are in alignment with who you are today, because we
Yeah,
change, we evolve. But boundaries, by far, to me, are really good, both in relationship with others and to self.
yeah, and it's essential, and not to allow other people to limit you or to place limits on you. And on that note, there's a story of this guy had somehow got these fleas in a jar, and the fleas kept trying to make it out the jar, but they kept hitting their head on the top of the jar, and they kept hitting their head, and it got to the point where they would stop right before they reached the top of the jar to keep
Hmm.
from hitting their head. And so when those fleas had baby fleas, the baby fleas automatically, instinctively only went up to that certain point, and it
Hmm.
went from generation to generation. So no fly or no flea ever attempted to reach the top of the jar. And it reminds me of something that Mae Jemison, who was the world's first African American woman astronaut, once said. She said, "Never be limited by other people's limited imagination."
That's right. That's right. Sometimes it's okay to be a pioneer and to do something different. Like many of us don't even use different toothpaste. We use the same toothpaste that our parents use. Why is that? I don't know. My mama used it. My mama did it. So yeah, you're right. Try some new things. What I found, that when boundaries get lifted
Mhm,
versus like even emotional ones, psychological ones, people polarize,
mhm,
and or animals, like they polarize and they say, I don't want you to have your power back. I don't want you to be in control, because they were most likely benefiting from you. And so when
mhm,
you pull that power back, what I've noticed is people tend to polarize. Either they're with you, they respect it, or they go over there. And that's always a good sign, for how to navigate those relationships going forward.
mhm.
Like, do you respect my boundaries? No? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Simple as that. And along those lines, I feel vision is important. Helen Keller, who was blind and deaf, once said, "What good is sight with no vision?" So,
Mm,
on the subject of vision, it's now 2023.
yes.
What are some of your goals for this year?
My goal this year, I just want to help people. I don't care if it's 3 people a day, 3 people a week, a month. I just want to help people. I set my goal very low because I don't believe I'm here to save the entire world, but I
Mhm,
do think that I could add value for, folks around me, folks that are struggling with everyday things within life.
mhm,
Like we said, folks sometimes don't know how to pray. Sometimes they don't know how to set really good boundaries. And sometimes they don't even know how to relax. Like if I say relax to you right now, like what would you do?
yeah.
Like literally, like what would you do, Brian, if I say just relax?
Just kick back and just take a deep breath and calm my.
Yes. So you intuitively knew to breathe, and to relax, to lean back even in your seat. But some people don't even know how to relax. They're like, what is that? They're tense from their head down to their toes. And so that's what I help to try to do, is just get to a state of relaxation where you can just be. And in
Mhm.
that state, it's basically surrendering to God, and God comes in and takes over those heavy burdens, those thoughts that were no longer serving you, and really helps you get back in alignment to your purpose.
That's so true. That's so true. Um, well, I already know this is going to be one a great a great book. It's going to be great in the book. So many jewels are being dropped. Um, Along the terms of vision, again, I believe like every caterpillar must be able to envision itself as a butterfly, even while it's still a caterpillar. And it's important for us that we are able to see ourselves where we want to be,
Mm.
even before we get there. So if there's someone listening to this who may have trouble getting vision and clarity, but they know deep inside they've been destined for something more than what they're currently experiencing, what advice would you give to them?
I would say create a vision board, a physical one. Some people do them on PowerPoint, but I like a physical board. And
Mhm.
I would physically take pictures from magazines or anywhere I drew inspiration, even print some out and create that vision board. And I'll create it from a feeling state as if it's already yours, it's already here. This is my house, y'all. It's this mansion on the hill. You see
Yes.
it, it's got my name on it. It's got 18 bedrooms and describe it. The more you can describe what you want in detail, it's the better. And then I like to do vision boards from a present feeling state. Like it feels so good as I sit in my mansion house with my family surrounded by as we read this book, Fly Clean. This is an amazing feeling. So that's the type of way that I do my vision boards. And also, I like to paint. And so if there's a vision in my mind that I wanted that doesn't exist, I will try to paint it out. And I'm not the best artist. You can see some of the work behind me. It's just something I'm passionate about. And I just love the use of colors and just being able to express and create from nothing. So when you create those vision boards, actually create it from a today standpoint. Remember the power of now. Let's do this today.
Yes.
Now, this is mine. It might take me some time to get to that house, but it's mine now.
Yeah. That's so important. Matter of fact, I got a vision board, and it's awesome because it's my vision board is up in my bedroom. So the moment I wake up, I see it. But it's gotten to the point where I could be um, driving in my car and like I've gone over the vision board so much it's become a part of me to where it's been ingrained in me because it's been like regurgitated. Cows,
Mm.
they eat their food, they swallow it, they bring it back up, chew on it some more. So it's like with the vision board, as far as things I've believed in God for and that God is bringing me into, I've like chewed on it, thought about it, meditate on it, brought His word in it, and just allow His presence and His peace to saturate it. So it's like it's become ingrained in me. So it's vision boards are definitely great.
Yeah, and I like that you have it right when you wake up. That's the best place for it. And so what you can do is take a picture of that vision board and have it as your screensaver on your phone. That way, every time there's a pickup, there's a, oh yeah, that's right. We're doing a conference. Why I prayed for this, and it's coming. And so
Yeah.
you get that little juice every time you pick up the phone and you see that vision board. That it keeps it conscious, keeps it present. Post-its all around kind of help a little bit too, just reminding you of the different visions
Mhm.
that you have. And I like it. And actually, um, I believe in 2 weeks we will be hosting a small 10 people vision setting, vision board creation. And so I don't know how to open that up to the public. I think I can maybe
Mhm.
do it virtually for some, but that's something that if you wanted to refresh your board or get some new inspiration, we could definitely do that together as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And finally, how can people contact you?
Great question. There's so many different ways. I have a few websites. They are www.deltaroe.com, and that's spelled DELTAROE.com. And then the newest website is called Just Go, and that is www.justgho.com. And that GHO stands for Global Healing Oasis. And that really is a collective of healing practitioners, pastors, and anybody really of a spiritual mindset that wants to get healing yourself. You would go to that website. There's several services there that you can enjoy. They're all for you. If you have questions, there's a comment form there that you could reach out to me. And for emails, you can send it to info@deltaroe.com.
Excuse me.
No worries.
That is awesome. Well, thank you again. It's been great having you back. The first time you came on, it was great. So it's like, it's like watching a movie where you see something the second time you didn't see the first time. So
Mhm.
it's been an honor and a blessing, and continue to be that bridge over troubled waters. And I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too. And I look forward to future collaborations and have a happy, happy, happy new year. And let's go get it.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you everyone again so much for tuning in. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you've been greatly blessed. Feel free to comment and share and watch the replay again. And it's also on YouTube, Spotify, as well as Google Podcasts. But as always, thank you for rocking and rolling with me. Great things to come, great things on the horizon as I continue to move forward in the spirit of consistency, dedication, and commitment. And bringing hope and inspiration. And I'm grateful for our continued awesome guests that we have, such as Tamika. So thank you again. And as always, this is BDP, Brian David Porter, living in purpose, on purpose, intentionally. Until
Yes.
next time, y'all be blessed. Love y'all to life.
God bless. Thank you.